Hi, this is Rosenhead, Jerusalem psychotherapist. Welcome to the next post in our Torah and Psychology series. So this week we finished the book of Bamidbar. We have a double parsha, Matos, Masei, and I'd like to focus on something which is mentioned in the beginning of Parshas Matos, which is the topic of Nedarim. And Neder was a verbal declaration that a person made in order to commit to something. It was a way of reinforcing their resolve in order to fulfill their word, to keep to their word. I'd like to address from a psychological perspective this idea of setting a goal and seeing it through, committing to keeping your word and being able to fulfill the goal that you've set for yourself. So the first point I would say to start is motivation. It's natural and normal for a person's motivation to vacillate. There to be times where you feel more or less motivated. So a way to combat this could be to set sub-targets, sub-goals that work up gradually towards the main goal that you're trying to achieve. Alternatively, you could play devil's advocate. You could make a list of the pros and cons of achieving your goal and the pros and cons of not achieving your goal. And in this way, it creates a very clear picture of what you're trying to achieve. And you'll increase your motivation that way by having a clear picture in your mind about the goal that you're going for. And in the literature, in the research, in terms of goal setting, a vital ingredient that is discussed is something called grit. Grit is defined as passion and perseverance. The ability to see something through, to see it through to the end, to deal with the failures, the ups and downs, the waves of motivation, to pick yourself up again and to really be able to see it through right into the end and achieve your goal. And the research has addressed this and looked at it in a number of different contexts. So they've seen it in army cadets, in businesses, in schools, and in all of these cases the results showed that people with a high level of grit were more successful in the long run. So it's important to try and nurture grit by being patient, by being able to deal with the failures and the hard times, by being optimistic, and gradually you'll build up over time a resilience and you'll be able to have a higher level of grit that will facilitate in achieving your goal. Okay, so now you're motivated. What's the next stage? The next stage is to set a goal in the right way. And in the literature, in goal setting, an acronym that's often used is SMART goals. I'm going to go through this acronym so you understand what it is. A SMART goal is something that is specific, measurable, attainable, relevant or realistic, and time-bound. And if you set up a goal with this framework, you're more likely to be able to achieve your goal. So now that you're motivated and you've got your SMART goal set up, what's the final stage? The final stage is actually putting it into practice, making the goal happen. And in the research, this is termed as implementation intentions. Being able to implement your goal. And this is the when, the where, and the how of goal setting. It's making an actual plan of how the goal is going to happen in practice. And this can mean that you set up a mental reminder in your head, or you have strategically placed post-it notes or reminders on your phone, or you ask people to help you to make sure that the goal happens. It's being creative and finding ways to ensure that the goal actually happens in practice. A clear plan is set up. Okay, so we've got motivation, we've got the SMART goals, and we've got the implementation intentions. So what happens when you achieve your goals? So from a neurological perspective, we see that more dopamine is released. Dopamine is the neurotransmitter in the brain that makes you feel good. The more that you achieve a goal, the more dopamine is released, and the better you feel. So achieving a goal, whether it's sub-goals or the main goal that you're going for, increases the level of dopamine that is released, and it makes you feel better. And it tricks the brain. In a way, it tricks the brain to want to stay motivated, to want to achieve its goals because it feels good. So, to conclude, achieving your goals is empowering. It makes you feel good. It gives you a strength, and you want to keep on achieving your goals. So I wish you good luck. Chazak, chazak, v'nis chazek. Have a great Shabbos and keep well.